Okay, so now that you've drawn and outlined your Paul Klee house made out of shapes, you're ready to fill in with color. But before you do that, I forgot a spot. You want to go on through with an eraser and erase all of those pesky pencil lines that you may have missed. And that helps your end results look a lot cleaner and neater. So really look and make sure you can't see any pencil lines before you get started. Now, I will be using color pencil to fill this in, but if you have crayons and you want to use that, you can do that too. So for color pencil, there's a few things to take note of. The color and the whole outcome changes a lot when you decide what kind of pressure you want to use with your color pencil. Sometimes you can use hard pressure to make an area look really dark. Sometimes you can use light pressure, so you're not pressing as hard with your pencil. And those two, are an artistic decision that you get to make for the area. See, you can get two completely different looks from the same color pencil. Something else you can try to experiment with that you'll learn about next year in 4th grade a little more is layering color pencils. So if you don't have an exact color you're looking for, when you start layering or putting different colors on top of each other, you get another color. So it's kind of like mixing, like with paint. See? So now I'm left with another color. You want to make sure that you're taking pride in your work and having good craftsmanship. So we don't want to be coloring like this. We want to make sure we're coloring in one direction. That's very important to have a neat looking outcome, is how you take your time and do your best coloring. So you also want to think about how you want to set your scene. Since I'm doing more of a spooky house for fall, I'm going to make mine my time of day at night. So I'm going to make it look like it's nighttime. That's why I have my moon and my bat. So if this is a picture of a house at night, you're going to think, what color would my windows look? And if you've ever driven past a house at night, you will see that their windows kind of look yellow because maybe they have lights on inside. So I'm coloring around my outline, and for my windows, I am going to use a hard pressure to make it look solid. And if you're using crayons, it works pretty much the same way. I rotate my paper so I can really get in there and pay attention to detail. But maybe one light is off, so maybe I would make this window appear black because maybe the lights are turned off in there. And this is going to take you more than one class to color, and that is okay. But I guess I'm going to have all of my lights on. Okay, so I'm ready to move on. Maybe, since it is nighttime, what color is this? I will make my background a dark blue, and I might layer some purple over it. So you can see, for this area, I'm coloring lighter because it's a really, really large area, and it would take me a very long time to color if I used hard pressure for this whole area. But you absolutely can. go a little bit slower around my more detail areas so I make sure that I stay in the lines. The key here is you don't want to leave any white spots, so I'm making sure I fill in my entire area. And I would continue this all the way around for my whole sky. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. You might notice that I outline a little bit around my detail areas and then go in the direction I was coloring. This just helps me stay in the lines. So my whole scene is starting to come together and I have all of those Paul Klee inspired shapes. I might even choose to go over this with some purple. And you can see how it changes the whole look when I layer these colors. Okay, so I would color my sky all the way to my horizon line, which is the line that separates the ground and the sky. So I'm choosing to do my whole piece using realistic colors. If trees are brown, I am coloring my tree brown. But you don't have to take that route. This is you have your artistic decisions to make. And everybody's art is supposed to look different, and that's why it is such a wonderful subject. See, sometimes I see students color like this. And they don't color up to the line, and they say, but I colored the whole thing. See, I'm done. If you have something that looks like this, I'm going to tell you to go back in and make sure you have no white spots. So something else you can keep in mind, and again, we will go over this in more detail in future projects. For this project, I want you to focus on your shapes and coloring your areas fully and neatly. But something that we're going to talk about in the future is the foreground, middle ground, and background. So the foreground in a piece of art is what's closest to you. So in this picture here, my walkway is the closest to me and this pumpkin is close to me. And when things are closer to you, the color appears more vibrant. So that's something you might want to use a hard pressure with. When something's far away from you, say this piece of land back here, it appears lighter. So something you can do, let me find a nice green, is called a gradient. All right. So maybe I would want my background, which is what's farthest away from me, to appear really light. And then as I get closer, I start to add a little bit of pressure, and you can see the color starts to get darker. You don't have to do this, but it's something to start thinking about, and we're going to go into detail in this in the future. See, so I want this to be really light, and it's slowly going to get darker until I get really, really dark in the foreground. So that's what's in the front. So these are just some color pencil tricks. And again, you can do all of these with crayon if that's what you're using. So we're trying to give the illusion of space and depth with this trick. See? Okay, so really focus on your coloring for this. Take your time, be neat. Make sure you erase your pencil lines before you start coloring. It's what keeps it looking very neat and clean. And we'll probably have a few classes to color this, so make sure you don't rush. You can experiment with layering color and see different effects you can get with that. Okay, good luck.